Who's the champ of foolish fame? Let's crown the buffoon of the week by name. Comic crown and a goofy streak. The title goes to our champ this week.
Ladies and gentlemen, class is back in session. Welcome to Buffoonology 101. Gene Baradelli, Ross Galloway here, my best friend and current adversary here on the show. Ross, what's going on, man?
I'm disappointed.
Wait, yep. Okay. Go.
You know, I think the feeling is mutual from some commenters on the video. For those of you who don't know, we've been doing this for a couple weeks now. We ask you to vote for Buffoon of the Week based upon the nominations we make for that dubious distinction. And last week, let's just say Ross didn't have a great week.
Damn!
But here, let's talk about the positives first before we talk about the negatives. Last week, we sent a new record for our 2-week-old show. The vote tally definitely increased greatly. We had 70 votes tallied. I don't know if it was that many individuals, but 70 votes tallied. And your boy won again, but by a much bigger clip. Close to 83% of you picked Letitia James over Colorado Senator Michael Bennett. And yeah, sorry, pal. Not sorry, really. I'm not sorry. I'm loving this because I'm finally beating Galloway, man.
You see what I mean, people? I pleaded with you last week. Even if you thought his nominee was better. Listen, I've known this man for over 20 years. And I'm talking about Gene here. I've known him for over 20 years.
How's it been? Oh, God, it's been that long. Oh, my God. Okay.
Do not encourage this man. Do you see how he's acting? You can't vote for his pick. You just can't.
Boo. Freaking who?
Take a look at some of the comments that we got from last week directed right towards you, pal. I mean, they wanted and they tried to, but they had to let you know it just wasn't going to happen for you, man. I'm sorry. And people out there, you got to understand. Ross is the ultimate competitor. He has to be the best at foot races during holidays. He has to be the best at Connect 4. And frankly, he's pretty damn good. But if there's any competition, it could be holding your breath. It could be standing on one foot. Ross Galloway must win. And the fact that he is 0-2 right now is killing him. It's absolutely killing him. And I love to see it. Love it. Love it. Oh, my God.
You're lucky you didn't see my comment where I had to lose under protest. We're playing by a rule book written by Gene on a show produced and edited by Gene. But all right.
Oh, not this shit again?
It's fair.
Fake news, Galloway. Fake freaking news. Here are the actual rules that Ross and I agreed upon. Before the show, Ross and I have each selected our nominee to present to you for Buffoon of the Week. Each host will have 5 minutes to make their case to you as to why their nominee should earn your vote. The first 2 minutes will be uninterrupted by the other host, but after that, it's a free-for-all between the two discussing the nomination. The opposing host will then evaluate the nominee based on the criteria set forth in my award-winning best-selling book, Schnooks, Crooks, Lies, and Scoundrels, a field guide to identifying political buffoons, available right now on Amazon, at Barnes & Noble, and other online bookstores.
This guy is a grifter!
The nominee will then be given a score for buffoonish nature and buffoonish action magnitude on our Sharpton Buffoonery Matrix, but more on that later. After that, we do it all over again for the other nominee. After all the nominees have been weighed and measured, each host will then have 1 minute to plead and beg for your vote for Buffoon of the Week. You'll get to vote online in the comments and on social media and at buffoonoftheweek.com. Vote early and vote often. No one's going to be counting whether you voted more than once. And now, back to the action. The only thing that Gene is dictating is how we evaluate the buffoons, which, by the way, was a collaboration between you, me, and other buffoonologists, the forefathers of buffoonery, as I call them in the book. It wasn't just me. It was you two. Just saying.
I used to drink a lot more back then.
It's funny because it's true.
So last week I went first at this. This week I'm going to flip a coin. Keep an eye on it here, Ross. Heads I win, tails you lose. It is tails, and you get to go first.
All right, you guys don't see what I mean by this. All right, I'll go first. That's fine. Playing by Gene's rules again. I'm good. So here we go. My pick is Congresswoman Nancy Mace of South Carolina, supposedly a Republican, right? You got to clean your own house sometimes. This week, I better win. If you're watching this show and you're right of center, you know that Nancy Mace is unstable, okay? If you didn't see the video, we're going to play it. She got confronted, and I use that term loosely, by a constituent, one of her constituents, in a store while she was shopping, and confronted. How did this man confront her? He said, Congresswoman, when is the next town hall that you're doing? And she went insane. The guy, maybe he's gay. I couldn't really tell, but the way he was talking, you might infer that. And so did she. So she said, well, I voted for gay marriage. All right. Let me rewind for 1 second. Judging by the guy and the way, he was asking about that town hall with the latest spat of Democrats invading Republican town halls, I probably don't agree with this guy on much politically, but he didn't do anything wrong. She starts screaming that the man is in her face, right? But she's recording him on her cell phone in a public place, and you could see the floor, his feet, his entire body. He had to be at least 20 to 30 feet away from her. The man was not in her face. She goes on to say, she goes on Hannity right after this, by the way, and she says, as a victim of abuse and sexual assault, I'm not going to ever let anybody make me a victim again. What the hell does that have to do with one of your constituents asking you when you're doing your next town hall? And she repeats, get out of my face. Then she starts saying, fuck you to this guy. And ends with, you couldn't take me on, stay the fuck away from me. She says the things that she thinks conservatives want to hear. She is no conservative. This woman is a clown, right? She can say she's a Republican. She's a clown. She's unhinged. She's hysterical. You'll see the video yourself. You make up your own mind. She has no business running on the Republican line. And I know my time is running out here. I'm going to say this. She's running for South Carolina governor. And I genuinely hope she loses. And I hope she gets out of Congress. I don't even care if we lose the majority, because people like her don't belong on our side of the aisle. She's insane.
Okay, so listen, the 2-minute part is expired. You want me to play the clip right now? It won't affect your time. Let's play the clip right here.
I do them every year.
Every year.
You want to keep going?
Do you
want to keep going and keep harassing me? You could have gone to a dozen town halls last year.
I asked if you're doing any more this year. It was one simple question.
Yeah.
Are you doing a town
I've
hall
already
this year?
done one. I'll do plenty more.
Are you doing any more this year? It was a simple question.
You're always invited.
Okay, sweet. Well,
And by the way, I voted for gay marriage twice.
What does that have to do with
So
me?
I'm just saying, it has everything to do with you.
Do you think everything about me has to do with gay marriage?
I do,
That's
absolutely.
your first stance when you
Yep.
speak with me?
Absolutely.
There's no other humane
If you want to get in my
conversation you
face
can
about
have
town
me?
halls, you should have shown up
There's
to
no
one
other
last
humane
year.
thing you can talk about me just saying, oh, I support gay marriage.
Yeah,
That's the
because
only
you're
thing
getting
you
in
have
my
to
face
say.
about a town hall. You
All I
could
did
have
was
gone
ask you one
last year.
simple question from right
Would you
over
like
here
me?
is if you have any plans to have more town hall this year.
I have town
That
halls
was one
every year.
question.
I have over a dozen
Okay.
every year.
Great. That was my entire question. You didn't have to go
Yeah.
into the spiel about
You
everything else
you could
wanted
have come to any of them last year.
to. Okay. And I'm
I had
asking you
over a
about this year, not
dozen.
2024. But
Where
for
were you the year
right?
before that?
Okay.
Or the year before that?
It was a simple
Oh,
question. I
because
asked
you know
if
what?
have
Because you
any more that
people
you're
on the
going to
left
this
are
year or not.
crazy.
So I'm
You're
on the left.
absolutely fucking crazy.
I'm absolutely fucking
You are.
crazy.
And get out of my face.
You're insane.
Goodbye.
You're insane.
Fuck you.
You're gonna fuck me. You're
Yep.
gonna be voted
Bye.
out so fast this year. I
I'm
can't
not.
wait for you to fucking
I'm not.
go into
I
the
won by
dirt.
so much.
You're a disgrace to this state. That's what you are. You're a disgrace. I asked you a simple question, and you just to go on this tirade and tell me "fuck you."
Yeah, fuck you.
Disgusting.
Get out of my face.
Fuck you. How about
Get out of my
that?
face.
You're a nasty
Try it again.
bitch.
What's your
You're a
name?
nasty bitch.
What's your
You're a
name?
nasty bitch. That's
What's
my
your name?
You say "fuck me"?
Yep, I
That's
sure
the
did.
first thing you're gonna say to me is "fuck me" for asking
Absolutely.
you a
Get
question?
the fuck out of my face.
Fuck you.
Now.
Fuck you.
Fuck you. You couldn't take me on, baby. Stay the fuck away from me.
All right, so you said that she also went on Hannity as well?
She jumped on Hannity, and you know Hannity with the pom-poms and the cheerleading. He led into the whole thing with Congresswoman Nancy Mace confronted by an angry liberal, unhinged. And then I watched the video, and the man did nothing wrong. Again, don't agree with them politically, I'm pretty sure. But this woman's a buffoon, Gene. She's
Listen, first of all, I love policing our own. I'm glad I wasn't the first one. So you're breaking new territory here on the show, and I certainly appreciate that. I'm not as big of a fan of Nancy Mace as other Republicans are. I think she's abrasive. I think what she thinks is bluntness and talking plainly comes off very obnoxiously. She's challenged members of Congress to step outside when she interacted with Jasmine Crockett, I think it was. Not that Crockett is any less of a buffoon, but buffoonery breeds further buffoonery. And I think that Nancy Mace oftentimes takes the bait when it comes to these sorts of confrontations. She's very pro-confrontation from what I've seen.
And I would argue it's not bait. I go back to what I said in my opening. I think she says things that she thinks the Republican voters want to hear. Like, she went over the top on the transgender bathroom thing at the Capitol, right? And she constantly plays the victim card. Like, okay, the trans bathroom thing is an issue, but it was an issue before a transgender congressman was going to use a bathroom at the Capitol, right? I never saw her speak up as loudly before that, right? But now that she wants to run for governor of a state, a southern state, she's saying the things that she thinks Southern Republicans want to hear. She's a buffoon.
And I think also that she says the things that the voters wanted to hear post-election. Donald Trump's election emboldened her a lot, and that's when you saw her speaking out even more further to the right. And speaking to your point, Ross, I think she's certainly a buffoon. I think that she loves playing the culture war games, and I don't really hear anything substantive from her. You get the last moment to talk here.
There's nothing substantive in her. She voted against the SAVE Act, which would have stopped illegal immigrants from voting in our elections, right? She's not a Republican, guys. Get that out of your head. She's in a purple district, and just like New York, people in purple districts often go to the left side of the aisle when it's politically convenient for them.
All right. I was overly generous with the time just because I want you to break 20% this time, pal. I really, really do. So I'm going to score Ross's buffoon nominee, Nancy Mace, based upon the Sharpton buffoonery matrix developed in my book. And to plot her on this matrix, it's all about the buns and the bam. Let's talk buns.
My buns!
No, not those. And definitely not those. I'm talking about our personal buffoonish nature. A decade of collective observations has shown that everyone, to some degree, has a bun. You, me, everybody. The size of their buns is directly related to a buffoon's propensity to do stupid things.
Look at the size of that thing.
And then there's bam, bam, bam. Buffoonish action magnitude. That's our measurement of how big a whoopsie a buffoon made. The bigger the mistake, the greater the magnitude. We then plug these values into our Sharpton buffoonery matrix, named for the alpha and omega of buffoonery, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
Modern problems require modern solutions,
which is our visual representation of a buffoon's bum to bam ratio. And here's the best part. After we tally up the worst offenders, you decide. You get to cast your vote, share your thoughts, and you determine who earns the dubious distinction of Buffoon of the Week, which we'll record as the weeks go by. And by the way, you can check out buffoonology.com to see those recordings on our Buffoonology 101 page. So, in this context, Ross's nominee is what I term a lunatic. The lunatic is someone who possesses a delicate, albeit skewed mental state. This is someone who has already breezed past all of the other minor hypocrisies. They often have a pretty well-sized bun, and the magnitude varies somewhat. There's two parts to the freakouts that we see from these sorts of lunatic buffoons. There's the trigger and the emotional hijack. A trigger is something somebody says that you find offensive, judgmental, shaming, or anxiety producing. A behavior that has a bruise that really touches a nerve, a bruised bone of yours, an overwhelming fear that you've been trying to suppress, a person, place, or thing that brings up a feeling of shame or fear. Really anything that they deem to be a threat. In this case, I think Ross's identification of this constituent as maybe someone from the LBGT community or from, that may be, gay or some other sexual orientation, that's always been perceived as a threat by Nancy Mace. We see that in her actions in Congress. Because she's a lunatic in this respect, and in consulting our tally board of previous buffoons, I'm going to score Nancy Mace, because this is one of the more irredeemable type buffoons. I'm going to put her on the bun scale. Her bun is the size of a 72. I think that's the right place for her to be. As far as the BAM, the buffoonish action magnitude of this confrontation, I will say that this was one of a series of videos that came out. This interaction did not exist in a vacuum. There's other videos out there of her interacting with constituents from the LGBT community. There's one with a trans person where she intentionally antagonizes them by calling them tranny. So this action wasn't in isolation. This is a repeated behavior of buffoonery. And therefore, because the repetition happened so close together, all in 2025, basically all this week as well, this is Sharpton-esque. I'm putting this at 2.5 giga Sharptons. Because honestly, this is social media news. If this would be more national news, it would probably be a lot higher. So that's my score, pal. What do you think?
I think it's pretty fair. I'll take it. I like my odds going into this.
Well, I'm glad you feel that way now, because now it's my turn. And once again, we got a pretty big-ass buffoon. So in the grand tradition of what Ross Galloway terms as my racism and misogyny, I once again present to you another woman as nominee for Buffoon of the Week. And that nominee is Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren. You may have seen on social media this week, Elizabeth Warren appeared on the Talk Easy podcast. And during that podcast, the host of the show asked Elizabeth Warren about whether or not she truly believed that Joe Biden's mental acuity was sharp, as she proclaimed it was early on in the campaign. Roll that beautiful bean footage right now.
Do you regret saying that President Biden had a mental acuity? He had a sharpness to him. You said that up until July of last year.
I said what I believe to be true.
And you think he was as sharp as you?
I said I had not seen decline. And I hadn't at that point.
You did not see any decline from 2024 Joe Biden to 2021 Joe Biden?
Not when I said that. The thing is, he was sharp. He was on his feet. I saw him. Live event. I had meetings with him a couple of times.
Senator, on his feet is not praise. He can speak in sentences is not praise.
All right. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Not only is that intentionally hilarious, I think, or maybe unintentionally hilarious. I think the host planned it out and it worked out just as he thought it would. But it shows you how the mask falls off after the fact. Elizabeth Warren was all gung-ho for Joe Biden, calling him sharp and able and ready to go, but she never really believed that. You saw the snicker just then of Elizabeth Warren when the host asked her, was Joe Biden as sharp as you are? She gave that little, a little titter right there. She knew that Joe Biden was the weekend at Bernie's president. She knew that the Democrat Party had to prop him up because she knows that the Democratic Party, and indeed Elizabeth Warren herself, only cares about power. There is no truth but power in the Democrat Party. That's why they had to play this pantomime act with Joe Biden. Don't believe your own lying eyes, folks. Don't believe your own observations. They're going to tell you how to feel about Joe Biden because that's what Democrats do. And they do it not for the benefit of the nation, not for the benefit of you out there. They do it for their own benefit, for their own power. They do it to hold on to their own power. It's absolutely disgusting. I see Galloway chomping at the bit. Go ahead if you want to jump in.
Listen, Gene, she said she didn't notice it at the time when she said it. I mean, she's a sitting United States senator. She ran for president as a Democrat. She likely will run again.
And you believe this?
I mean, either she's a liar or is herself in mental decline. And I'd hate to believe that about a sitting United States senator that's a Democrat.
She's certainly a liar. She has a history of lying. We remember throughout her time. You don't even believe your own point. We remember the whole Pocahontas thing. And she turned out to be 1027th Cherokee. Even the Cherokee Nation said that that's not enough and we won't accept her. The whole Pocahontas, she filled out bar cards saying that she was Native American. She says her Mima was the ultimate authority on that, not DNA testing. Come on, man. There's a history here. This is not only hypocrisy, but it's political narcissism at its worst.
So she's a liar. So is Kamala Harris, Joe Scarborough, Nancy Pelosi. All these people are just liars now, Gene?
Yes, absolutely. The proof's in the pudding. After they couldn't hide it anymore, Biden was forced to resign. Come on, man. Listen, I know that you're playing to the crowd. I know you want to win, but let's be intellectually honest here. Elizabeth Warren is a creature of party politics. She's one of the ultimate partisans out there. Because this was the issue she had to go through. She had to agenda gymnastics her way, twist and contort her way to get to this position. And even then, in this interview, she couldn't even do it with a straight face. She had to basically admit and concede, yep, you got me. I'm a liar. But it's not the lying that bothers me. It's the motivation behind the lie. The motivation was to trick people to vote for Joe Biden and vote for Democrats. It's irredeemable behavior on the part of Elizabeth Warren, who is supposed to be so smart, but yet all these smart people on the Democrat side, they turn out to be liars.
And Gene, I will give you some props. The most delicious part of the whole thing, I think, of this nominee, is that she's doing podcasts to try to connect with the youth vote, and she looks like a damn fool doing it. I don't know, you couldn't get to I don't know who that guy is, right? But you couldn't go to a more friendly venue, and even they can't stomach her. Like, she looks like a damn fool.
Yeah. By the way, shout out to the Talk Easy podcast. Sam Fragoso is the name of the podcaster. And in the brief time I have left here, I want to say go check out the full podcast at Talk Easy Podcast. And Ross Galloway is a cocky duty poopy head.
Wow, he didn't even wait for his 1 minute spiel to throw that one in there. All right.
Oh, no, we're doubling. Listen, this is war. We're doubling up.
Well played, Mr. Birdelli.
You say that every week, and whenever you say that, I win.
Because I see these people. I'm looking for new and fresh material. You're going back to the goodies, the oldies but goodies. This is a tough one. It really is. Because I want to be fair to you, right? So she's a hypocrite. She's a narcissist. But I think the agenda gymnast is probably the best category from the book. I know there was a technical term there that I can't pronounce, so I'm going to ask you to tell me what that was.
Yes. Buffoonicus contortius. Yes.
And if you want to describe a little bit what that is, but agenda gymnast, you guys could probably read between the lines, right? She contorts her views to make it make sense when clearly whatever she was talking about Joe Biden did not make much sense.
And certainly she is expending her political capital and personal credibility while she's doing it. So it becomes like once a liar, always a liar.
On a podcast, on a road to run for president again. Pretty bad. So as far as buffoonish nature, or we're calling buns here, it's another one that I got to be fair, right? On a scale of 1 to 100, she's at a 75 at least, right? She's been in the news for a damn near decade, if not longer, saying dumb things that weren't true. I'm going to give her 75. For Bam, I've been working on math, and I have all these equations written out, the buffoonish magnitude of what she just did there. I carried the one, I rounded up. I'm going to give her 10.62 gigasharpens. The decimal repeated pretty much to infinity, but 10.62 is where we're going to end it into the hundreds.
I see you put a lot of thought into this, pal, and that I really appreciate. A true, credible buffoonologist you are.
I'm sweating, Gene. That was a good one. Very good.
It's now time for us to make our final pleas and bribes and begging for your votes. Hey, Ross, why don't you toss the coin this time and let us know who's going first?
I'm just going to go first. How about that?
All right.
I'll take it. I'm not going to wait for you to decide my fate again.
I will start the clock on your first word.
I won't even need a full minute for this one. This is easy. All right. So first of all, shocker, Gene picked another woman as his nominee. But not just another woman, a woman of color. Okay, Gene. My pick, Nancy Mace. You got to vote for her, right? She's a rhino. She's unhinged, and she's hysterical, right? We can't have this in our party. And I'm going to close with this. I'm going to bring it all home. Nancy Mace herself is probably about one pair of a size 13 heel away from being transgender herself, right? So pick my pick this week, Nancy Mace.
Oh, man, you got 20 seconds left. I got to hold in the laughter and give you your time. I can't break the rules. You got like 17, 16 seconds left if you want to say anything.
I'm good. I'm spiking the ball. I won.
All right, we'll stop the clock there. Oh my goodness. Oh, I freaking love doing this show. I really, really do. All right. So it's time for my minute. You have the timer ready for you? Go over there.
Yeah. I'm always lenient with the time because I like hearing you.
All right. Ready, set, go. Ladies and gentlemen, and everybody in between, Ross Galloway is a bad Republican. He broke the 11th commandment right here on tape, on the record, calling out a fellow Republican. Are you going to take that? I don't care how many posters he has on the wall. Words, actions, deeds. That's what matters. I picked a true blue, irredeemable buffoon in Elizabeth Warren, a woman with over a decade of a track record of lying to you right to your face. And the latest lie came just this week, and it's a big one. You heard Galloway. Bigger bun, bigger bam. This is the clear. This isn't even a competition anymore. I ask humbly for your vote for Elizabeth Warren as Buffoon of the Week, and I must remind you once again that Ross Galloway is what? Yeah, you just said it at home. Did you hear the bell go off right when I was done right there? Did you hear it?
Nice job, Mr. Birdelli. Right. Well played.
Thank you very much, pal. I appreciate it. So there you go, guys. It's now up to you to pick Buffoon of the Week. But before we end the show, a true buffoonologist must acknowledge his own shortcomings. And I have a personal story of buffoonery that I want to convey real quick here at the end to give Ross a little time to point and laugh at me. So I have an ancient Samsung phone that I've had for years. In fact, since I moved out from Brooklyn, I have the same phone. I recently ordered a new one, and it got mailed out. I paid for it, got mailed out. It was sent to my old address in Brooklyn because I apparently forgot to update the shipping address, even though I updated my billing address.
Now comes the part where we throw our heads back and laugh. Ready?
Ready!
So I'm a pretty big-ass buffoon, and you can run with that, Galloway, as we close out this week's Buffoonology 101. Class is dismissed, but we're going to have a little fun here at my expense.
Gene used to be a process server back in the day.
Well, remember the days where I didn't know what day matched up with what day of the week? It was something like that as well, man. It was completely ridiculous. I'm a buffoon. What are you going to do?